I never thought a pizza box in a corporate lobby would change the course of my entire life. But you know what? Sometimes the universe throws you into the fire just to see if you'll burn or rise. That's what happened to me. Marcus Williams, 19 years old, son of a cleaning lady, standing there clutching a hot pizza on the 20th floor of Technova Solutions, watching a bunch of frantic engineers freak out over some code gone wrong on a screen the size of my bedroom wall. I was just waiting for someone to sign the receipt, but my eyes couldn't help scanning that mess of an algorithm, and man, it was like watching someone try to run a marathon in flip-flops. They're using the wrong data structure. I muttered under my breath, maybe a little too loud. The receptionist, blonde, all attitude and high heels, gave me a look that said, "Sure, the pizza kid knows computer science," and just rolled her eyes. I ignored her. Heck, I've been ignored by people like her my whole life. But I couldn't look away. The solution was so obvious, it almost hurt to watch them get it wrong. A couple of suits, all Rolex and bravado, walked by, and before I could stop myself, I called out, "Excuse me, you're using linear search where you should be using hash indexing. That's why it keeps crashing." Silence dropped over the lobby like a heavy blanket. Every face turned my way, 12 men in sharp suits, and one blonde receptionist with her phone half raised, all looking at me like I'd grown another head. Then Richard Blackstone, Technova CEO, silver hair, shark eyes, laughed. "Kid, do you know how many PhDs have been working on this for 6 months?" The air felt electric, but I kept my cool. "I know you've lost about 97 million so far, because it crashes every 200,000 queries." Suddenly, the laughter died. Nobody outside the company should know that number. Harrison, the VP of Tech, stepped closer, suspicion all over his face. "And how the hell would you know that?" he asked. I shrugged, just observation. I wasn't about to tell them my mom, Rosa, had been cleaning those offices 15 years, or that I'd spent half my childhood doing homework on their break room couches while absorbing every technical conversation that floated by. No need to add insult to injury. Blackstone's smile twisted. "All right, little genius. If you're so smart, solve it." The challenge echoed, everybody suddenly hungry for my humiliation. What none of them knew was I'd been accepted to Stanford at 16, but turned it down to take care of my diabetic mom. I glanced at the code, then at their faces, and felt something snap into focus inside me. "All right," I said, pulling out my beat-up phone. "But when this is over, just remember who you judged before you saw what I could do." Somebody in the crowd snickered. Harrison barked, "This is going to be good. Somebody film this." Even the receptionist couldn't hide her grin as she hit record, probably already drafting a meme in her head. Blackstone checked his Rolex. 15 minutes. If you don't improve it by 10%, you're out, and your mother too. That made my blood run cold, so he knew about my mom. He didn't even try to hide his sneer. Hard-working woman, but maybe it's time for retirement. Especially if her son's a liar. The humiliation burned, but my mom always said, when they try to humiliate you, it's because they're afraid of what you might become. So I nodded, start timing. I zoned out the snickers, the phones, even the pounding in my chest. I dove into the code, all the years of learning in libraries, online courses, nights hunched over my mother's vacuum cleaner echoing down those halls. I restructured their whole system in under 8 minutes, slashing hundreds of bloated lines down to a sleek 47. "What did you do?" a young engineer asked, wide-eyed. "Same thing you do with a family budget," I replied. "When you don't have much, you make it work." Blackstone looked like he was chewing glass. "Our best minds," I cut him off. "Maybe it's not the minds, it's the perspective. If you've never had to make a dollar last, you don't really know what efficiency is." Harrison tested my changes. The screen flashed, numbers poured down, and then silence. "No crashes. No errors. Just pure, smooth, beautiful speed. 97% performance boost, 90% faster, half the server cost," I announced, voice steady but shaking inside. The lobby went dead silent. Sarah, the receptionist, had stopped filming, her jaw practically on the floor. Blackstone's fists balled up. "That was luck. A trick." I just smiled. "I'll do it again if you want." That's when Blackstone completely lost it. He shouted, "I will not be humiliated by a black pizza delivery boy. Security, get him out of here." And that, my friend, was the moment the crowd silence turned into 100 phones raised and filming. He'd hidden his racism behind polite smiles for years, but now it was out in the open. I picked up my bag, and before I left, I said maybe too calmly, under state law, that's a federal crime. And with 20 witnesses and video, each new word is digging your own grave. I left the building, head high, but my hand was shaking. Back home, Mom knew something had happened. I told her everything: the code, the threat, the ugly truth caught on film. She listened, tears in her eyes, then handed me a dusty box full of contracts, photos, emails she'd collected over the years, evidence of all sorts of shady stuff going on at Technova. When you're invisible, people don't watch what they say or do, she whispered. The next day, I got a call from David Chun, an investigative journalist. He'd seen the viral video and wanted my help not for an interview, but for an inside job. Blackstone's got a pattern discrimination, illegal firings, worse. I need proof. We met at a quiet cafe. He laid out his evidence. Turns out, he'd been building a case for years, and now, with me and Mom, he finally had what he needed. Meanwhile, Blackstone was losing his mind trying to get me and my mom fired, telling his board I was a thief. But Dr. Harrison, who'd seen enough, secretly recorded those threats and sent them to David. That night, in our cramped kitchen, we hatched a plan. We didn't want to destroy Technova, too many good people there. We wanted to expose Blackstone, but leave the company standing. Best revenge, Mom said, is to rise so high they look up and feel small. With the board grumbling and Blackstone's paranoia growing, we gathered every scrap of evidence. David looped in the right people. Then Blackstone, true to form, called a press conference to clear his name, inviting me, the board, investors, the works. He tried to accuse me and Mom of theft, waving evidence from a private eye. That's when I flipped the script, showing the room photos, audio, and documents, everything from Blackstone's own shady meetings with competitors to racist emails and illegal firings. The bombshell was Harrison's recording of the original confrontation, the ugly words, the humiliation, all in crystal clear audio. But the knockout blow was the real financial report. My code had saved Technova $143 million and boosted their systems by 120%, all done by a so-called pizza delivery kid. The board was stunned. Blackstone sputtered, but federal agents stepped in and cuffed him right there. As he was led away, I told him the difference between us? You use power to oppress. I use brains to protect. And that's how a moment meant to shame me became the turning point for everyone in that company. 6 months later, I wasn't delivering pizzas. I was running Technova as its youngest CEO ever, my mom sitting front row at the award ceremony, retired with a pension I set up for all cleaning staff. The same lobby that once watched my humiliation now bore my name on its wall, right under the words, "Excellence has no color, only results." Blackstone, meanwhile, was a nobody, dodging old colleagues, divorced, and scraping by as a freelance consultant, poetic justice, if you ask me. And me? I kept it simple. Every Friday night, I still delivered pizzas, this time, to homeless shelters, so kids like me would see it's not about where you start, it's where you aim. David Chun's book about the case topped the bestseller list. And when I finally spoke at Stanford, the school I'd once turned down, a kid asked if I'd change anything. Maybe just deliver that pizza 5 minutes sooner, I laughed. So I could have watched Blackstone's face a little longer when he realized he picked the wrong kid to mess with. Now, you tell me, is justice best served cold? Or do you think there's a better way to fight back against people who try to keep others down? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about what true justice looks like, because this isn't just my story. It could be yours too.